You slept 8 hours last night, maybe even 9. You didn't go out, didn't drink, didn't stay up late, scrolling. You did everything right. And yet, when the alarm went off this morning, the first feeling wasn't rest. It was a kind of heaviness, like your body was still carrying something from the day before, or the week before, or maybe from a long time ago. You got up anyway, made coffee, opened your phone. And somewhere between the first notification and the third tab you opened, you already felt behind, already tired, already a little bit empty, and the day had barely started. This feeling has a name that most people never quite find. They call it burnout, or stress, or just being an adult. They assume it's because they're not sleeping enough, not exercising enough, not being productive enough, so they try harder. They go to bed earlier. They download a meditation app. They write morning routines in notebooks they stop using after Tuesday, and nothing really changes, because the tiredness doesn't come from what they think it comes from. And that's exactly what this video is about. The first thing worth understanding is that there are two completely different types of tired. One is physical. Your muscles are sore, your body needs sleep, your eyes burn. That kind is real, and it has a real solution: rest. But the other type of tired is something else entirely. It's a mental and emotional exhaustion that doesn't go away with sleep, because sleep doesn't touch the thing that's actually draining you. You can lie in bed for 10 hours and wake up still depleted, because your brain never actually stopped working. This is where things get strange. When most people think about rest, they imagine the absence of activity. They think rest means lying down, doing nothing, being still, but your brain doesn't work that way. Your brain has a mode that activates specifically when you're not focused on a task, a kind of background processing system that runs constantly, sorting memories, replaying conversations, anticipating tomorrow, rehearsing what you should have said, planning what you'll need to do, simulating possible futures. It never fully shuts off. And in modern life, it never gets a real chance to wind down either. Here's what that looks like in practice. You finish work, or school, or whatever the day demanded from you. You sit down to relax. You pick up your phone. And from that moment, even though you feel like you're resting, your brain is being continuously fed new information, new stimulation, new emotional signals. A post that makes you compare yourself to someone. A headline that triggers low-level anxiety. A conversation that pulls you back into a problem you hadn't finished thinking about. Each of these inputs is small. Individually, they mean nothing, but they stack. And what looks like downtime on the outside is actually just a different type of cognitive load on the inside. This explains why a weekend of Netflix and social media can leave you feeling more drained on Monday than the week before. It's not that you did too much, it's that your brain never got the kind of quiet it actually needed. Real mental rest isn't about being inactive. It's about giving your attention system a genuine break from inputs that demand processing. And in a world designed to capture your attention at every possible moment, that kind of rest has become genuinely rare. But there's something deeper going on too. And this is the part that most people miss. Tiredness isn't only about inputs, it's also about unresolved weight. Think about the things you carry that you never quite put down. The conversation you keep rehearsing in your head because it didn't go the way it should have. The decision you've been avoiding for 3 months because it feels too heavy to face. The version of your life you thought you'd have by now, and the quiet grief of comparing it to the one you actually do have. These things don't disappear when you close your eyes. They just go underground. And underground, they consume energy constantly, silently, without you even noticing. Psychologists call this the cognitive cost of unfinished business. Your brain is wired to keep open loops running in the background until they're resolved. Every unresolved problem, every avoided decision, every emotion you push down because there wasn't time to feel it, they all sit in a kind of mental queue, drawing, processing power. You can't see them clearly. You can't always name them, but you feel them as a persistent fog, a weight that doesn't have a clear source. A tiredness that doesn't make logical sense, given how much you slept. And this is why that matters. You can optimize your sleep schedule perfectly and still wake up exhausted, because the drain isn't coming from your body. It's coming from the cognitive and emotional overhead you're quietly running in the background every single day. Sleep restores the physical system. It doesn't close the open loops. There's another layer to this that rarely gets talked about. Modern life has made a particular kind of tiredness almost invisible. Decision fatigue. Every single day, you make hundreds of small decisions. What to eat, what to wear, whether to respond to that message now or later, which route to take, whether to say yes or no to something that feels like it should be easy. Each decision costs a small amount of mental energy. On its own, none of them is significant. But by the end of the day, the accumulation of all those small choices leaves your decision-making system genuinely depleted. And when that system is depleted, everything starts to feel harder. Focus becomes difficult. Motivation drops. Irritability rises. And you interpret all of it as personal failure, as laziness, as weakness, when in reality, it's just math. You've been spending cognitive currency since the moment you woke up, and the account is empty. What makes this worse is the social layer. We live in a culture that has quietly made exhaustion into a signal of worth. Being busy is worn like a badge. Saying I'm fine, just tired, is so common, it's become invisible. People push through, perform normalcy, keep the surface looking intact, while underneath, they are genuinely running on empty. And because everyone around them seems to be managing, they assume the problem is theirs alone, a personal deficiency. Something to be fixed with more discipline, more willpower, a better morning routine. But the exhaustion is not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that the system you've been handed, and the way you've been taught to live inside it, was never designed with your actual well-being in mind. This is where things start to shift. Understanding the real source of your tiredness changes what you need to do about it. Not in a dramatic, overhaul your entire life way. In a much quieter, more precise way. Because once you understand that the drain is coming from inputs, open loops, and unresolved weight, you can start to address each of those things specifically. Inputs first. The most immediate thing you can do is create actual distance between yourself and the stream of stimulation. Not permanently, not dramatically, just windows of genuine quiet. Time where your brain isn't being asked to process new information, react to new triggers, or evaluate new content. Walking without headphones, sitting without a screen, doing something slow and manual that asks nothing of your attention system. This isn't about being more productive. It's about giving the part of your brain that manages everything a few moments to settle. Most people find this uncomfortable at first, because the quiet reveals the noise that was always there underneath. But that's not a problem. That's actually the beginning of real rest. Open loops, next. This one asks more from you, but it pays off in a way that sleep never can. Take inventory of the things that are running in the background of your mind. The conversation you've been avoiding, the decision you've been deferring, the thing you said you'd do but haven't, that you think about fleetingly and then push away. You don't have to solve all of these at once, but you do need to look at them. Even just acknowledging an open loop consciously can reduce some of the background weight it was generating. And for some of them, a simple next step, one concrete small action, is enough to tell your brain that this thing is being handled. That signal matters more than most people realize. And then the emotional weight. This is the one most people skip because it feels abstract, or uncomfortable, or too far outside what a video about tiredness should include. But emotional suppression is one of the most energy-expensive things a human being can do. Pushing feelings down doesn't make them disappear. It just means you're spending energy holding them in place. Acknowledging how you actually feel, not to perform vulnerability, not to spiral into it, but just to name it honestly, and let it exist without fighting it. That releases a surprising amount of tension. It's not therapy, it's maintenance. The same way you'd close 20 browser tabs that were slowing your computer down. Not because each one was important, but because they were all running at the same time. The tiredness you've been feeling is real. It's not laziness. It's not weakness. It's not a character flaw. It's the predictable result of a life that's been consistently demanding more than you've been allowed to recover from, in ways that were never obvious enough to address directly. And the fact that you couldn't name it before doesn't mean it wasn't real. It just means it was working quietly, the way the most persistent things usually do. Rest. Real rest is not a reward you earn after you've done enough. It's a biological and psychological requirement that doesn't negotiate. The world will always find a reason to keep you stimulated, busy, reachable, productive. None of that will stop on its own. The only thing that changes is whether you understand what's actually draining you, and whether you start treating your attention, your cognitive bandwidth, and your emotional honesty as finite resources worth protecting. If this felt familiar, comment always tired. It helps me understand how many people are quietly carrying this, without ever finding the right words for it.